spot level in the country. You get everyone seeing it. If you're on that side of the room, you can, so it kind of stops at about 1980. But basically what we're saying is our level of housing stock has pretty much plateaued in the last few years. It's certainly not keeping up with demand. So we'll keep going through. Now this is the percentage of owner-occupiers, urban, rural and estate. Again, we'll just keep moving on here because I'll show you in a little bit more detail. What we're looking at here is in last year probably we built less than 20,000 homes to the state, so probably about 18,000, and it's very difficult to get a handle. It's very difficult to get a handle from the Department of Housing Planning and Local Government. If we didn't have people like Mel Reynolds and others actually telling it, actually their figures tend to be more accurate than the figures that we're getting from the Department of Housing. I'm not just saying that because it's here, it is a fact, it is the truth, and that in itself is a concern. We spent too long actually looking at figures and numbers and trying to extrapolate what they mean, and trying to make the figures look better than they are instead of dealing with the actual problems. These are very telling. In 1991, which for many wasn't too long ago, including myself, I think I've just done my reading cert on or about then. The average age of buying your first home was 26. Now, that's now risen to 35 in 2016. And that's not saying that every mom and dad isn't delighted that their 34, 35-year-old son or daughter is staying at home with them. But it does cause social issues. It also means that you have many people who are working incredibly hard, paying lots of tax, don't see any hope for them purchasing or owning their own home. They're the facts, and that number is going up further. So you're looking at now at 35 years of age. Since 2012, this is something that hasn't just been foisted upon us. We've actually been able to see them decrease in house prices after the crash. About a 90% increase in property prices nationwide. More distinct in other areas, 7% increase in income. So you're seeing a much greater disparity. The average house price in Dublin was on or about 370,000, which is about 6.5 times the average household income. When the central bank is rightly telling us the affordability rate is 3.5 times your average household income, and we're up to 6.5 times. It just shows you there's a massive gap which is getting bigger between what is affordable and what is actually attainable. And that's why we need an affordable housing scheme, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Home ownership levels are at a record low, about 67%, way down from 82% in 2004. So again, that's showing you home ownership is slipping away. There are other elements to the housing crisis, so I'm going to talk about that as well also, if we want to move this on. The affordable housing scheme was abolished in 2011, and I don't want to be actually completely unfair on that, because in 2011 it can be argued, and rightly so, that there wasn't an affordability issue in most areas. The problem was it wasn't reinstated quickly enough. Last May, 12 months I got a motion passed defeating the law to reinstate the affordable scheme that was there. Imperfect as it was, it can be better. The previous scheme though did deliver about 16,000 homes for people, most of which in Dublin. So I have friends of mine, my own peers, who were able to get their foot on the housing ladder through the affordable housing scheme. The scheme was set aside. It was re-established, strangely enough, 4 weeks after the motion I brought to the Dáil last year. The scheme was actually signed back into law, but we only got the regulations only a couple of weeks ago. And I've been dealing with Minister Murphy on that. I did not agree the criteria of what he's brought forward either, because I think it's far too restrictive. Basically, we're still looking at income thresholds of 50,000 for an individual, 75,000 for a couple. And if you use your normal nurse or guard family as well who are working and 2 decent jobs, if you're looking at that, the 75,000 threshold will throw people out. But it's about delivering the stock. So it's anything up to that level. I'm going to talk about social and public housing now in a minute. So the scheme is formally back in place now, but it is unfortunately won't deliver one house this year, and probably not next year unless a realistic scheme is brought in place. That's what I'd be interested to hear from Bill when Cllr are talking. Look, here are the figures. They're not mine. These are the figures as per the central bank and as per the Department of Housing. So you're looking at effectively the central bank, as I said, defines affordability at 3.5 times your income maximum, and that would mean that based on the average income of affordable homes should be between 160 and 200,000. But the average cost in our area, the Greater Dublin area where we are, and which I'm focusing on this evening,
So you need income of 95 to 110,000 based on the central bank's own rules. And if you don't have access to what Leo calls the bank of mom and dad, which most customers don't have, where you can't go in and get a lump of money and say I'm going to pay off half my house or a quarter of my house. So these are the real issues facing people. But on state-owned land, where we own the land itself, the average cost, as per the Department of Parliamentary questions put down itself, about 210,000 you could build a home for. Bill will have different figures and Mel will have different figures. They're based on questions I put down on the average of so all different types of housing stock. So about 210 grand. So we'll move on just very quickly. So what do we do in the last budget? We have had from time to time criticism about confidence in supply, and it has been frustrating and all of those various things, but it means that we can actually deliver on the mandate that we have. So what I negotiated in the last budget was a 310 million actually affordable housing scheme, which was what was called the service site fund.